What do you see now? Sherry?
Your screen.
Yeah, better.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
That's good.
All right. So what do you understand by computer networking? Anybody want to help us out? What's your knowledge, or what do you understand about computer network or computer networking?
So based by the name, I always feel like computer networking from the name now, it's just like bringing some computers together, trying to just find a way to connect them together, either by, that's the way I used to think, either by using any cord, either by using YouTube, I said YouTube, sorry, Bluetooth, infrared, or anything. That's just the way I feel computer networking is to me.
Okay, that is absolutely right.
Yeah.
Networking is just connection. So when they say, oh, you have to network, that means you have to connect. And that is just it. Networking, computer networking is when you join multiple devices together to form one network, to form like one giant family. So when we talk about computer networking, let's look at this example. But before we look at the example, computer networking is the practice of connecting multiple computing device. Computing device is just computer device. When you join multiple computing device together to share information, to share resources, to share data, and to communicate with each other, that is a network. You have one laptop, you put the laptop down, you connect it to the internet. That is a network, because you connecting that device to the internet, what you are doing is that you are connecting your own computer to your service provider. It's just that your service provider, they are not there, they are not in your house, but they have a representative in your house. They have a device already in your house. And when you connect, you can either connect your own laptop with a cable to the device that your service provider gave you, or you use Wi-Fi. So whichever way, what you are doing, you are connecting your device to a larger network. So that is networking. So this here is an example of network. This is an example of network. And a company might have this network, and when they start buying more device, the network will start increasing. The network will start increasing. The more devices they buy, the more they add it. When they connect it to one device that is already in the network keep expanding. So as time goes on, they are going to have a very big or large network. So this network now can be separated into multiple network. And here, if you look at this, they can divide that large network into a smaller network. They put one network in a separate, all the devices, they were like, okay, we have too much devices that are connected together. It's very difficult to manage. What can we do? We can break them down, not break them, we can segregate them into smaller connection. Like they may take like 20 or 50 computers, or the computers in an entire branch, they might put them separate. Then another section, they might put another computer there. So this process of segregating or separating network or dividing network into smaller units is what is referred to as computer networking. Subnets, as computer subnets, when they divide computer into smaller units. If you don't understand what a subnet is, or smaller computer, do not bother. When we get to AWS, there is a section dedicated for networking on AWS. And this is where we are going to discuss computer networking on the cloud, or computer networking in AWS. So let's look at components of a computer network. Sorry, let me go back one step. We have the network interface card. We call it the NIC card or NIC card. The computer network interface card, we have the switch, we have the router, we have the cable, or no, sorry, not Wi-Fi. Don't use your Wi-Fi as networking device. I mean Wi-Fi. We have the cable, we have the client computer, and we have the servers. And there are multiple other ones, but these are the ones that I want you to focus on. And let me just correct this so that somebody don't go and use their Wi-Fi and do say, hey, let me use Wi-Fi as networking. So we have the cable, we have the Wi-Fi, we have the client computer, and we have server. Now, let's look at them one by one. For example, here is the network card. This is an example of a network card. And a network card, it's actually responsible. It makes, is what goes on the device that make that device to be able to connect to the network. When you buy a new laptop today, if that laptop do not have a network card, you cannot connect it to any network. You can't connect it to the internet. That is why at times when your network comes in, when you are trying to connect your system to the internet and is not connecting, that means they now tell you, hey, your network card is bad. So without a network card, that computer will just serve by as a standalone. It cannot connect to other network. So it is required. It is required by a device in order to connect to the network. Then we have a switch. Don't mind this kind of switch. This looks like an old switch because I use an AI to generate the image. So this is a switch. It's the purpose of a switch is that inside a network, all the devices that are connected together inside a device, inside a network, need to share information. They need to share data. They need to share resources. So the question now is, if a computer that is inside a network want to send information to another computer inside a network, how do the computer send it? The first thing is going to send that information to a switch because they are in the same network. So it's going to send it to a switch. Then the switch know which computer or which device they want to send that information to. So a switch connects devices in a network. It forwards traffic within that network to devices within the network, or it forwards traffic to devices within a network. Please, this is very important. A switch, like if you go back, let me go up one step. Look at this network here. This is a smaller network, and this is another small network. So inside here, you have a switch. You have a switch here that all the device, if this device here, this laptop that you are seeing here, if you want to communicate to this laptop here, to this desk here, it's going to send that information. You can see all of them are connected to the switch. So anywhere they want to send traffic to, they send it to the switch, and the switch will know where or who owns that information. So you only use a switch within a network. So what happens if you want to communicate from this smaller network to this network, or you want to communicate from this network to internet, to another network, then we don't use switch this time around. That is where we use what is called a router. So router it connects multiple networks together. Switch connect devices within a network, while router connects network. It connects networks together. It connects either a smaller network to a larger network, or a smaller network to a smaller network, or a larger network to a larger network. So if you are in your house, you open your laptop and you want to browse the internet, then you have to have a router, because it's the router now that will take that communication and send it to the larger network, which is the internet. So is that all? No. We have another one called network cabling, and this is what you plug directly to your system that gives you the network. But in most cases, we don't really use cabling anymore. We use Wi-Fi. So those are the main computer network. My presentation here is not right, but let me just open all of them. So here, the next thing we want to look at is what is called client to server communication. How does one, when you open your laptop and you open a browser, then you type google.com or amazon.com inside that browser, something happens behind the scene. I'm giving you an assignment now. Go and find out what happens behind the scene. So the assignment I'm giving you in our next class, you can write it as an article. You can just write it in a spreadsheet, in a Google Doc or anything, and share it with me. And it can also include like a diagram, how computer works, or when you go to the browser, how does internet works? How does internet works? That is the assignment I'm giving out. You need to go and find out how does internet work. I'm going to get it. You have to send it to me. It's an assignment. I'm giving you this because it has come out several times in an interview. And even if you are doing interview with all these big four, like Amazon, Google, Microsoft, these are kind of questions that they normally ask. How they want to, they are not really, some questions are not really big. They just want to know whether you have the basic knowledge of the internet. How does internet work? When you open your laptop and you open a browser and you type google.com or you go to amazon.com and you press enter, what happens behind the scene? So what happened, I'm not going to tell you, but in just a brief, like this computer here, we send signal out over the internet to this server here. And then this server here will respond back with information. So now the server, the laptop that you use, it might not be laptop, it might be desktop, it might be your phone, it might be anything. It might even be what's it called? All these gaming thing. So whatever device that you use to send that traffic out is what is referred to as a client computer. An example of that is your personal computer, a desktop, or a phone. Then that laptop or the information that you sent out, it goes somewhere and it gets to a place, and somebody there or another device there, respond back to you. That service that device that respond back to you and give you the website that you want to look at, or show you the video that you want to watch. That laptop that responds to you, or the device that responds to you or responded to you, is what is called the server computer. So a server computer is a computer or a system that provides information, provides data, services, or program to other computer known as client computer over a network. So when you open your laptop and maybe you go to facebook.com, google.com, yahoo.com, and you press enter, when you press enter, it's going to send a signal. That signal is called a request. It's going to send a request to another server where those information are kept, the file that you want to view, because everything when you go to a website, all you are seeing there is just a file that is a command that somebody has written. So when you on your system go to Google browser, Google Chrome, and press enter, it make a request to the server, then the server respond back with those files and folder and images, and it display it on your own laptop, and you start scrolling up and down, and you are like, hey, I'm viewing Google, I'm viewing Yahoo, but you don't know what actually happened behind the scene. What happened behind the scene is more than that, and that is the assignment I'm giving out this time around. Any question on that?
I have a question.
Jesus, you.
I have a question. Can a router act as a switch?
Okay. Yeah. So there are some.
Sorry, sir. Before you answer that question,
All right.
I like what that brother asked. I wanted to ask, we need clarification on that network switch and that router.
Okay.
So maybe if you start from there, maybe you can get to the question.
Yeah, I will answer both. Let me first answer Chris. There are some some years back, when people do router, they do switch, they tend to do them separately. The same thing with firewall, which we are not discussing now. They do them separately, that one device will do one thing. A switch will only work as a switch. A router will only work as a router. But these days, they are called what is called a next generation devices. So they tend to do more than one. So a switch now, a router now can actually perform the work of a switch. So there are some devices, some modern day devices that they do more. It's one device, but they do multiple tasks. So it's possible for a router to do the work of a switch. Yeah, it's possible. So pertaining to the second question, that a more clarification on a switch and a router, right? Let me go here. Up one more time. Look at this. Initially, this is a larger network, and the company decided to break this network into smaller units. But before they break this network into smaller units, you can see that all the network, all the devices, they are in one way or the other connected to each other. They can either connect to each other through wire, or they can connect to each other through Wi-Fi. When all these devices are connected together, because they are now in one network, so it is the responsibility of switch to pass that information that they are sending around. So that is where switch come in.
Hello?
Switch.
Yes, sir.
Please, if you are not talking to the class, can you mute?
I didn't pick. Hey, don't worry, I will find out. You will go, don't worry.
Okay. Somebody say, can I repeat what? Okay, I think that question is not for me. All right. So when look at this network now, we have a device here. We have another device here. And what you should look at is that all this connection, all this computer, they are tend to connect. Let me take this away for now. Look at this. All of these, they are tend to connect it to this middle device, right? So this is the switch here. This is a switch here. So whenever this laptop, let's say for instance, this laptop now, it needs a file. And this server here is actually, maybe the company is using this as a file server where they store all their files, right? So if this laptop here wants to open a particular file that is on this file server, then it needs to talk to the switch. Then the switch now will pass that information to this file server, and the file server will send that information back to the switch, and the switch will pass it to this. So it is now the responsibility of switch, because all these computers now, they are in the same network, but they don't actually know who is the next person by themselves. What are the other devices on the same network? But with the help of the switch, then the switch can help them to look for who or what other devices are on the same network. So this is just a single network, and whenever devices in the same network wants to communicate, they pass through the switch. I hope that there is a clarification on switch now. You use switch when you are already in the network, inside the network. But if we now decided to divide that network into smaller network, because man, it's too big. So to manage this, it's going to be kind of complex. So we now say, okay, instead of 4 people managing this whole network, let's divide the network into smaller units. Then we can tend to like, okay, you 2 people manage this, then you 2 people manage this. So they are more focused. So if you have this kind of architecture diagram, so these devices, though they are in a smaller network of their home, this one too here, they are in a smaller network of their home, but guess what? They are still in the same big, larger network. But because we have divided them into smaller networks, they still need to be able to communicate to each other. So what is happening now here is that this is a network, though it is a small network, but it's still a network. Either it is a large or small, they are still a network. This one is a separate network, another small separate network. Either it is small or large, it's still a network. So whenever device in this network wants to communicate to the device in this network, switch cannot do that work again, because it is now 2 different networks. So this is when we now need a router. So the router take one communication in one switch, take the communication from one network and it routes it to another device in another network. I think that is more clearer, right?
Yes, so
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
So we are almost rounding up. The last one, I think I made a mistake here. I was supposed to write data, but that is fine. It's still database. But the major focus here is data center. Now, we've been looking at device. Let me start from here. We talked about computer hardware. I'm just going to summarize everything we talked about so that you can understand clearly. We started, okay, let me close this one instead of going that route. So we started with computer hardware, right? We talked about different computer hardware. We talk about what is computer. We talk about devices inside the computer, and all the devices, all these, they are inside one computer. And now, after that, we say, okay, we need 2 computers to communicate with each other. Computer A wants to communicate with computer B, right? When computer A communicates to computer B, we say that is a network, right? Fine. So now, when we have multiple computers that wants to communicate to each other, in your house, in my house, I only have 1 computer, or maybe 2 or 3 or something like that. If all of these can still be in my room, let's say I'm running a company now and I have server 2. I have 2 servers and I have 1 computer. All of them, they can still be in my office. It's still small, right? What if I'm started growing, my company starts booming, then I have 100 servers. Should I still put that in my office? Absolutely no.
No.
Because it alone will kill me. So I can create, in some company, they will create something like, if they have one server, they can put it on a desk. Then if they start growing, then they will create a room. They will call it server room in their office. But the server room still have limits of computer that it can take. So what now happen if you have like 100 or 200 devices that wants to connect together? Maybe you have like 50 servers or 100 servers that needs to communicate or connect together. Will you still put that 100 server in your room? No. So this is when we now take all the server, we take them out from our room, we take them to, we get a bigger warehouse and we put those computers there and we connect them together. And then once we connect them together, we can start from my own office. I can just leave a laptop or what we call a workstation. We can leave that in our office and then do the connection from our office, either through Wi-Fi or through cabling, connects to that warehouse where we stored all our data, or where we put all our device, our servers. So that warehouse that you rent somewhere or you build somewhere and you put all your devices and you connect those devices there is what is referred to as data center. So if you think data center is one big word, it's absolutely no. It's just where you store, where you house your computer or your network, where you house your devices that connected together, you just put there because there is no enough space in your office to put them. Your data center, a corporate data center might still be in their office. You know, there are some companies that they have acres of land because they are too rich. So they can still create a dedicated building in their compound, but as long as it is meant for just their computer devices connected together, that is a data center. So when we get to AWS, you will understand data center more. This here is a data center. These are different laptops, different servers put in a rack, in different rack, and they are all connected together. So when you hear a data center, it's just multiple computers connected together in a dedicated building. That is a data center. So let me quickly go out and Google some horrible data centers for you. You will see some fine data center and you will see some data center you will like, man. So look, these are different data centers. They initially, when this company start, maybe may start with just one server and they put that server in their house. And when they start growing, they were like, okay, we can't put that server in my house. We need a dedicated office. Yeah, they call this server room. And when they keep growing, they were like, no, it can't contain here. Then we need to go and build a warehouse or a dedicated building for all of these servers. And they took all the servers there, and that is what it means by a data center. A data center does not necessarily mean that it is only server that is there. There can be other devices like a network server, a database server, an email server, or some kind of storage, some kind of processing machine. But it's just a place that is meant for connected or interconnected computers to function together. So if you look, let's take this one for example, we see that it's just you can see that all these computers, they are put on a rack, and all of them are connected together with wires. So this, imagine if you have to put all of this in your own room or in your house, the heat alone will kill somebody. So that is why the company tend to have a data center like this. And with this knowledge, this is what we migrate, we will bring this knowledge to the cloud, because cloud too is a data center. Initially, let's say I'm a small company now, then I grow, I was like, okay, I can't keep all this server in my office again. I have a warehouse where I kept all the server and connected them together. And the management of that data center alone is a lot of work, because it's, a lot of computers together, they will generate a lot of heat. So you will need to make sure the place is always cool, right? Then you also need somebody to make sure that no server goes down, because you can have your server, but corporate server should not, there are some server that you cannot turn them off. To turn them off, maybe you can only turn them off like 5 minutes in a year. So there are some servers that you cannot turn them off. So you need somebody to monitor those servers and make sure they are not turned off. Then you also need to make sure that it is secure. So there are a lot of things that goes on. You need to employ people that will be managing this. And this is what companies are trying to avoid. They don't want to waste a lot of money. All the servers that you are seeing, it may not be, maybe like 60% of them are not being used. Maybe the server are just bought, maybe when the company introduced a new package, and there is a lot of customer that is buying that package. And there are phases to, when you talk about developing a package, there are phases to packages. When you introduce it to the market and when it is phased out, when the demand for it is no more there. So when the demand for it is no more there, customer tends to buy less of it. So if you buy all this server because there is a huge demand for a particular product, and after that product kind of fades away, then there is no demand again, then all the server, what happens to them? They will just be there doing nothing. So this is what companies are trying to avoid. They don't want to keep servers. They don't want to deal with troubles of servers. It costs a lot of money to manage. So what they do is that instead of them managing their own data center like this, they tend to okay, AWS have a data center. Why not me that is just starting up? Instead of me to go and have my own data center, why can't I just use AWS data center? Why can't a small company like me that does not have millions of dollars to manage a large data center like this, why can't I just use from AWS and I just pay for what I use? That is the concept of cloud computing. Companies now, instead of keeping their own data center like this, they are paying money to Amazon, they are paying money to Google, they are paying money to Azure to use their data center, and they only pay for what they use. And this is the concept of cloud computing. So there are multiple data centers. You can see some that looks modern. Look at how beautiful this one is. And you will look some data center, you're like, man, IT, okay, example of this. Look at this. This is a data center. Look at how the wire just everywhere. If you work in this kind of data center, I know you will, every night you will just be having a headache, knowing that you are going to work next day. All right, so this is the end of the introduction to computer and networking. It's just a brief. I know a lot of you already understand what I'm talking about, and there are some people that they don't really know, but I appreciate everybody for paying attention. And if you're just sitting down there, because you are not on camera, I'm not seeing you, and that just mark attendance, that is also fine, And I know you, and I know you, don't worry. So, any question for me? Let's start from question and answer. Any question?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, Bob, for cutting you. I'll be sorry, Aki, for cutting you. Yeah, you say the assignment is to know what goes behind when you send the.
Here, how a computer, how internet work,
how does internet work?
No, it's not hard as internet.
how internet work. So, you see here, this is an example of understanding how the internet works. So this is like kind of what I'm asking you to do. When you open a browser and press enter, and it gives you the file that you want to view what happened behind the scene. That is what I want you to read about. This has actually come out, even I remember clearly Amazon has asked me this question when I was applying with job with them some years back. And the same thing with some other giant companies. They want to know how internet works. And there's a lot of questions, basic questions that I will still be introducing as time goes on. Like when you're trying to view a page that does not exist and they show you an error 401, what does it mean? All of these things, they are basic things that you need to know before you can go out there and say you have knowledge in IT. I don't care how long you have been in IT, but if you don't know all those basic things, when you are communicating from your browser to a server, what protocol does the communication pass through? Like what we say, if you look at this, if I double click this now, this HTTPS, what does it mean? If it is HTTP, what does this mean? All those things, you need to understand them before you go out there and say you want to be a cloud engineer or a cloud security engineer, because they are very, very important. All right. More questions.
So I'm sorry. I always like to be a layman. So when you were talking about the data center, the way you were trying to communicate with us and trying to explain what the data center is and why it's always like that and why it was being created, you were saying computer. So my own is it that they carried computer down to a particular place and set them there? Because I don't know. Because data center, server, I don't understand that.
No, data centers are like, sorry for cutting you. Data centers are like, like he said, like in an office, they create a codex room where they keep the servers to reconnect with all the system in the office. So it could be the switch, it could be the router that transfers whatever information we or you send to get back a result from.
Okay, so you are telling me now in essence that most times in that data centers, they are more or less like switch, they are more or less like routers. Is that what you are saying?
Yes. No, I mean they in a data center, there should be a laptop installed just to keep running and checking whatever is going, but mainly servers, routers. Yeah. That's all. Yeah.
So when you talk about, look at this. This is a personal computer, right? When you join a companies today, they will send something like this to you, a computer. The reason why the companies employ you is because they have challenges, they have problems, they have a lot of applications that they use for their products. They have a lot of, maybe if they have a website, that website is actually somewhere, and that is why people can connect to their website. If they have an application, that application is somewhere, and that's why people can connect to it. If you look at Amazon, if you go to Amazon now, you know how many thousands or millions of people that are on that Amazon page at the same time. That tells you that Amazon website cannot be single server. It's going to be on thousands or hundreds of servers. So we need people to manage this, and all those servers cannot be put on in Amazon one in a room in Amazon office. So they need a giant building where they're going to put those servers, right? So those servers, when we talk about server, it's actually more, it's almost the same thing as computer, but they are more powerful than regular personal computer. They have a lot of capacity because it's actually an enterprise computer. So all these servers are kept in a single or in a warehouse called that warehouse, and they are all connected together. They are connected together with switch, they are connected together with file server, they are connected together with mail server, they are connected together with different kind of storage. So all these connections are what you are seeing in when I show you this server. So when you go to this place or this place here, you will see file server, you will see application servers, you will see email, website server, you will see storage, database, you see a lot of things. All of them are connected together. But if you don't want to go to this place, maybe one of the server turned off, maybe as a result of a bad software, and the server is turned off, you don't have to go to this place every time to manage them. That is the purpose for your own personal computer. You can do what is called a remote connection. You can connect from this your server, from this your laptop, to any of the server that is inside this place.
Yeah.
So, and then you can turn it off, you can switch it off. You will do all those things when we get to AWS. But a data center, you can find any networking device in a data center. You can even find a laptop there, because when somebody needs to go, at time that something happens that you cannot do it remotely, you have to go to the data center. Then when you get to the data center, you cannot be connecting to, you can see every devices you see here, they don't have monitor. So you can't see what is going on inside it. Then there might be a laptop there that you have to connect. There might be a laptop that you have to connect so that you can see what is actually happening inside that particular device. But when you go to a data center, you see different kind of networking device or computer device there. You will see a router, you will see mail server, email server, application server, web server, a lot of things there. So I hope that answers your question. And if you are still not clear, Google now should be your friend. What is data center? Then they will give you a definition. A data center or a data center is a building, a dedicated space with a building or a group of building used to house computer system. That is just a building, just like a warehouse where you put all your computer system.
Okay.
So in essence now, so a data center is more or less like a bigger
A warehouse.
networking room.
You would call it a warehouse of
just like a warehouse. Just call it a warehouse or a house. It's just like if you have one server, then there's no problem. You can put that in your room, and if worse come to worse, if it is too hard for you, you can put a fan, right? You can increase the AC. But when you put 100 server in your house, then there's a problem, because the heat alone, your AC will not be able to cool it down. Then you need to move them to a larger place where they can have a good ventilation, and you can have a larger AC. If you go to a warehouse, it's as cold as cold room, because all those computers, they generate a lot of heat and they need to be cool all the time. So that's why we push them to data center, and some people manage them from there.
All right, so
all right. Any other question?
Will we present our homework next week during the class?
Okay, so for the homework, for now, go to Telegram, and once you just do it, send it to the Telegram group. I want everybody to send their homework there. If your name is not there, if I don't see your homework, I'm going to mark your name down. I actually want to see from everybody. I'm going to be more strict with homework these days. I remember the last time when I give homework, people don't submit it. Some few people submit it, and some people just don't care. And when majority of what we do, even if you don't need them before you get a job.
I mean, where did you post the homework? Like a description of it?
I didn't take a screenshot, I just say it.
Oh, you just said it.
Yeah. That is why you have to pay attention. So I just say I need a diagram with an explanation how an internet works.
How do we submit? To the
Submit
mail?
on Telegram. Just once you do it, just upload it on Telegram. And I see
Okay.
there.
Okay.
To the playlist.
Okay.
Yeah, go to the Telegram. No, not this one. This Telegram. Then just upload it here. When I see it, I will comment on it. And there's something that I want to introduce. I'm going to create a Google Doc, and I want you to create a Google Doc. Everything we are discussing, maybe we pick a particular topic, like how internet works. I want you to just, when we get there, I will actually show you, like when I was showing you yesterday, all those topics that were, all those things that you should know after a particular topic. Any topic that we covered, for instance now, this one that we covered today, let me go to this place. When we talk about subnet and like dividing a larger network into a smaller network, I want you to be writing your story, like, okay, how you help your company to manage a network, how you help your company to manage a smaller network, or how you were able, or when you are troubleshooting, or when you are working with your clients, they have issue with too small network, and how you come in and be able to help them. When we get there, I will actually show you what I want, especially when we get to AWS Solution Architect and Security, because why I'm introducing this, when we finish course several times, a lot of people, we covered a lot of things, but they don't have stories on what to say. So it's better you start building your resume from the day one. Anything you learn, mark it down as, okay, this is what we did today. This is how I'm going to present this when they ask me an interview, and this is the story I'm going to tell to back it up. So that is what I want to introduce. I will create a spreadsheet, and I'm going to share it with you guys. And everything you are going to include in your resume in terms of job description, I mean your role, I will also share a template with you that you need to be filling immediately as the time goes on, so that by the time we finish the course, that is not when you will now start ramble on what you need to put on your resume, or the stories that you need to tell in an interview. All right. Any other question? All right. If there is no question.
So creating a doc is like creating a new folder or new file, right?
Yeah, just a file. A Google Doc. Yeah. So if there is no question, I will end the class here today. Remember, yesterday you guys are owing me like 48 minutes, and today is like another 1 hour, making 1 hour 48 minutes. I'm taking record. So in a day that I will like, okay, we need to put extra, instead of finishing by 6, we want to finish by 7. Then anybody that talked, then I'll just refer you back to the time I get back. All right. If there is no question, let's meet on Wednesday, 7 to 9 Central.
Oh God, please.
All right.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Yemi.
All right. Bye, guys.
All right, sir. Thank you.
God bless. Akin.